Hello everyone, welcome to Legend of the Galactic Heroes Episode 6 review. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. The last 5 weeks of Legend of the Galactic Heroes have been great. If you have not seen the last 5 reviews I've did of these episodes, go check them out. They're very popular, actually. I get at least around 600 views on each of those videos. My first one is already over 2k views, so I thank you all for that, and I appreciate, I guess, the views you give me, because that's an awesome accomplishment, and it's very humbling. But, anyways, the show must go on, and we're going to talk about Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Episode 6, and it starts with Yang talking to a posh dude with sick sideburns, and Yang brings up wanting a guard for his house while he stays away. This is because Julian has decided to stay in the house, so he wants to make sure he is safe, because as we know from the last episode, those crazy people attacked. I already forgot their names, but because as we know, last episode, Yang had to fend them off with his water cannons, as someone in the last comment said, which I thought was great. Then, after the plagiarized opening, hot take, Yang is introduced to his new team, which is comprised of remnants from the 4th and 6th Fleet. We of course learned that in episode 5 as well. And of course, the other thing we learned is the reason why this team has got together is because they're going to take down Iserlohn, which I think I called it Islerm in the last episode. I'm an idiot, I'm sorry. I have a lot of these videos to make every week, so I make some mistakes and I do apologize for them every time I do make them. But then, later on, he meets with Frederica Greenhill, who is very excited to see Yang.
フレデリカ・グリーンヒル注意です。この度、ヤン少将の副官を拝命いたしました。
This is not in a weird way or anything like that, but this is because while she was a little girl, she gave him a cup of coffee and said that her giving him a cup of coffee was a big help, which inspired her and obviously meant something to her.
助かったよ。でもコーヒーは嫌いだから紅茶にしてくれた方が良かった。
そんな失礼なことを言ったかな。
ええ、おっしゃいました。
Now, afterwards, as Yang and Posh Sideburns, which we're totally gonna call him that, by the way. Like, that's his actual name now, is Posh Sideburns. I think that's a perfect name for him. But they are in a mess hall. They're actually walking together, talking about stuff, and they overhear gossip about Yang. So while they're listening to this gossip and while they're going on and on about it, another commanding officer walks by and he's like, "Hey, stop talking about Yang like that, assholes." And all the guys at the table are like, "Oh, sorry, sir." But Yang still hasn't yet fleshed out his team, so after the mess hall meeting, he goes with Frederica to contact Walter von Schönkopf. I'm not sure how that's actually pronounced, so someone who knows German, help me out there, I'd appreciate it. And also as well, if someone can help me learn English, I'd much appreciate it. But it turns out there are also bad rumors spiring about him, as he kinda defected from the Empire. There were 7 other people just like Walter, and he's the only one left who hasn't defected back to the Empire. So this, of course, is a big contention with this character, because we don't know if this guy is going to defect or not. He even makes a joke later on in this episode about it, kinda, and they all look at him weird, but we'll talk about the joke in a moment. To be honest, I wouldn't put it past this series to have Yang believe in Walter and then Walter go and defect. It would honestly be a pretty cool twist. It would make sense, it would be realistic, and it would be dumb for Yang to trust it, but at the same time, who else does Yang have? Walter has experience with the Empire, and yeah, out of the 7 people, he's the only one left that hasn't defected, but there's a reason why he's the last one who hasn't defected. Now, whether that's because he hasn't got orders to defect back to the Empire, or whether that be he hasn't got fed up with the Alliance yet and wants to go back to the Empire, or whatever it may be, it's a 50-50 chance that he could be a good guy, or he could be a defector, a double defector, like a double stuffed defector. Like, you know how you get the Oreos and the double, I don't know, it's terrible jokes. But it is a 50-50 shot that he could be a traitor or not. I mean, he already is a traitor. And this kind of goes into like conflicts in series and what makes a good conflict good and immersive and well told. And I think Walter is a very good conflict in this series because it's a small conflict. Yeah, he's kind of important to the plot. He's mostly a secondary character though. At least at this point, at least the way they're kind of representing him. He's kind of a secondary character, but the conflict with him is interesting enough to where you don't really know. he could, in fact, defect again, but you just don't know, because Yang has all of this confidence in Walter to deliver the goods, right? And if Yang has that much confidence in Walter, should the audience as well? I mean, Yang wouldn't do something like that unless he knew that he could trust Walter, and he hasn't really ever talked to Walter at all. And Yang is a very smart guy. We know that from the Battle of Astarte and the things that he did and how now he's leading the 13th Fleet. But at the same time, we don't know a lot about Walter. He may be very good at espionage. He may be a spy. We don't really know quite yet who Walter is or what his character is. But at this point in the series, I think Walter could be a key factor in this season. And also the sequel movies that recently just got announced. But anyways, after Frederica and Yang talk about Walter, they now go to meet Walter. And in this building, there's like a bunch of these pent-up meatheads who probably have not seen a woman in quite a long time, just like myself. And one of the pent-up meatheads starts to harass Frederica. And then Frederica, which, by the way, she's awesome. I love her already. To which takes kind of offense to that. She's like, yo, I can only tolerate this so long. And so what she does is she does an arm drag, takes down this meathead with ease. And then she goes for a karate chop, and she was gonna like straight up karate chop this guy's arm. Probably like break it out of socket or something like that, or even like break his elbow. We don't really know, but she was going in for the takedown. And before she's able to land the final blow, she is actually stalked by Walter. And I think that was kind of like, in a weird way, that was like a cool moment, but also another, I don't know, there was something funny about it. Just like Walter coming in and then kind of like Frederica like looking at Walter like, are you serious? Like, is this happening right now? I thought that was a really, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. I kind of chuckled during it. I don't know why. But anyways, they start to talk in this room. They're all dressed up now. And after a little bit of breaking the ice and stuff like that, Yang reveals to Walter that after Iserlohn, he wants to retire. And this is because if successful, this will cut off the Empire's only way to invade, which could lead to a peace treaty. This also leads into like a cool kind of spiel that Yang does, where he's like, I want to leave decades of peace. Even if it's just a small amount of peace, I want to leave peace to future generations as like kind of like an example, so that maybe if there is a couple decades of peace, those past generations and the future ones and the future generations, they will see that example. They will demand more extensions to this peace treaty or whatever it may be, and it will cause prolonged peace, which I thought was a very noble thing, and it kind of puts into perspective what Yang's position is in this battle and how important it is, even though it's such a political battle. So I also want to bring up now just kind of the perspective and the political bullshit that's kind of going on with this battle that will be happening. So one of the YouTube comments I have in this video is from TCC. I want to give this person a shout out. Thank you for commenting last week on episode 5. He said, or she, the comment reads, Trunicht is one smart as fuck politician. If Yang succeeds to get a second term and takes credit for Yang, and in the eyes of the Patriots, tamed a man of talent. If Yang fails, Trunicht gets rid of his eyesore and can say, look at that unpatriotic Yang, he failed and caused even more deaths. And then he can blame the heavy losses from the previous battle on Yang, claiming Yang took credit for the other admirals and wrongly blamed them for 1.5 million losses. And this comment, I thought, it's a great comment, by the way. It puts a lot of this stuff into context, and I'm not really a politician man or anything like that, but that really does kind of set the stage how much at stake this battle is without even really knowing a lot of the political context. Just kind of thinking about this in a political context adds even more layers to it. Now, if Yang fails, he has all of this stuff he has to deal with now. And if Yang succeeds, he will be a war hero, but at the same time, Trunicht will be in office. He will probably and likely get reelected for another term. So it's kind of like a catch-22. It's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. If Yang doesn't show the goods, he will more than likely be more fucked than he is if he shows the goods. And it's such a hard balance, right? It's such an already tilted scale in the favor of anyone but, which is crazy to think about. And also why this is so compelling. Yang is literally the underdog right now. The Alliance is the underdog, and they don't really technically have to be the underdog, but from just all the political bullshit that's been going on, he now is forced in this position to do these things he probably doesn't really want to do, or well, we know he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be a history teacher. He wants to learn history and stuff like that. He's just a normal dude. So, I don't know. I thought that was a pretty cool comment. But anyways, after that meeting they have, this leads them all getting together to discuss the battle strategy of this battle that they'll be doing. It turns out it's actually a crazy one, because who knew that having the new 13th Fleet, which is one singular fleet, not even three like they had in the Battle of Astarte, to take down a giant planet. I don't know. It seems crazy, and it is a crazy one. But we are then told more about Iserlohn. It's in a section of space where it's unnavigable and occupied by the Empire, and at that, two of the same ranking officers are in control of this planet, so they basically just bicker and stuff like that. No one ever really agrees. But also, the planet is a Death Star. No, I'm not kidding. It shoots a death laser beam, and it blows everybody up. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, Iserlohn's communications have been jammed for 2 days, and they receive a message that one of their fleet is under attack. So the crazy out-of-control officer sends out a fleet, and then it turns out that this is the beginning of the 13th Fleet's plan all along. This episode was awesome. I don't know if it has come off yet that I really love Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but wow. This series, this episode, I mean, listen, I watch a lot of anime, but this is crazy awesome. And to be honest, the first half of this episode, I was loving it, right? But I was going, alright, this is another good episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Like, it's just gonna be more setup, talking about the war, getting to the war bits. And then they reveal that Iserlohn is a Death Star. It was like a death planet. And it has a beam that it could shoot, and it just wipes out whatever it wants to. Which is awesome. But at the same time, how does that work exactly? I don't even know. It didn't work in Star Wars. But it didn't work in Star Wars the 2 times they did it. I'm sorry if that kind of came off as spoilers. I don't even like Star Wars, but no, this was awesome. This was awesome. And Frederica, I really like Frederica. And it's not just because she's a cute anime girl or anything like that. She's a pretty cool character. I really liked Walter as well. Walter's and this is not just because Walter's a cute boy. He's a cool character. I really like both of the characters they introduced. I felt that everyone else in the 13th Fleet, like the people that Yang personally chose, I didn't feel like they were that important, to be honest, and they probably aren't for a reason, at least in this episode. So we'll see where we go with that. But also, one thing before we go. So Walter is talking, and they're in the meeting with everyone is together. This is after they kind of negotiated with Walter a little bit, and they're talking about something, and then he jokes, well, worst case scenario, if we get caught, it will just like me going back home anyway, so, and he starts laughing, like he's joking, he's like, and everyone's staring at him with this like straight face, like, dude, what? Like, they're looking at him like, is he really saying that right now? And I thought that was a hilarious scene. Oh my god, that made me laugh so hard, as you could tell from this. I'm laughing so very hard. No, it was a funny scene, all joking aside. Very, very funny scene. I enjoyed it very much. This show has some weirdly odd comedic timing that I can really enjoy. And in this episode, it was very good. I also kind of liked the motivation for Frederica. She met Yang as a young child and gave him coffee, and Yang goes, Yang asks Frederica, he's like, so, what did I tell you? And she's like, well, you told me you didn't like coffee, you wanted tea, but coffee's fine. And he goes, wow, I was so rude. This series has a lot of fun, little quirks about it in terms of like the comedic timing that it's so on point, and I really enjoy it. But what do you guys think about this episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Oh my god, this one's a long one. Whew. much longer than my past ones, I'll tell you that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support you give me. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon button. Every week, we will be reviewing a new episode of the Legend of the Galactic Heroes remake, and I'm going to be in the process of collecting as much of the Legend of the Galactic Heroes novels as I can to read those. I've heard this one is more similar to the light novels than the actual OVA, which I found very ironic. I don't even know if that's the right word. I listened to way too much Alanis Morissette, apparently, because everybody's hating on it. It's not the OVA. Well, everyone has been telling me it's more like the light novel, adapting stuff from the light novels. So, yeah. Tell me what you guys think about the episode. Thank you all for the support you give me. Make sure to hit the bell icon, all that stuff. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.